Hey guys, Derek and Sally Tangmola here, and we are the owners of Auto Rehab. We've owned our own shop for 7 years, and Derek has actually been in the automotive industry for 15 plus years. So with all our knowledge and experience, we have decided to go ahead and drop these videos on YouTube every single Wednesday to kind of inform the general public of things that we actually inform our face-to-face customers with every single day. So this week, in this video, you are actually going to learn about your AC system. With the temperatures rising, it's getting really, really hot outside, and this is a luxury that a lot of us have come to enjoy, and there's times where it's so hot outside that all of a sudden your AC will go warm. And that is not good. None of us want to experience that. We need our AC cold in order to make all of us happy. So that's what we're going to cover this week, and Derek is going to take it away.
A few things in regards to AC. It's kind of tied to your cooling system, and I just have to cover the first part of that, in that your radiator's in the front of the car, and that's what exchanges heat to keep the engine cool. In front of that is your AC condenser. Now, for AC to work well, that condenser is technically cooling down the hot liquid form of Freon through the condenser so that it can be compressed through the compressor and cycle again. So typically when you're not moving much, when there's not a lot of air coming in through the front of the car, is when people will experience kind of a warmer AC. And that's a hard thing to prevent, because obviously in some cities you're in stop and go traffic. That happens normally, but a lot of times customers will think, oh, my AC failed. And really it's not that it failed, it's that it's working harder than it normally has to. When the temperatures are in the triple digits and the car's not moving, there's just not enough air coming through the front of that. The fans will be pulling as much air as they can through there, but oftentimes it's not enough. Sometimes when your AC goes hot, can also be because the engine is starting to pass a threshold, meaning it's starting to overheat a little bit, because the outside temperature is so warm that's coming through, and your vehicle's computer will actually shut the AC off to save the engine if that temperature is getting too hot. And typically you'll notice once you start moving and air flowing in, the AC comes back on and it starts working cooler again. So keeping a vehicle in motion helps the air conditioning system work better in hotter climates. So an AC system requires a certain amount of Freon in that particular system. If you overcharge it or undercharge it, it will not cool properly. So an overcharged system, oftentimes people's systems will have the correct amount in it. However, they're experiencing these little moments of getting hot because of lack of airflow, or because they're pulling a hill, or because the engine's overheating, and they immediately think, oh, my AC needs Freon. So they go to the parts store, get a Freon in a can, shoot it into their car, and then afterwards they start noticing they'll be driving and the AC will be very cool, work excellent for a little while, and then it just goes hot. And they're still in motion, but it goes hot. Like the AC system just completely shut off. And after driving for a while, then it comes cold again. And they can't figure out why, and they assume maybe it's the compressor, maybe it's some switching, some relay. And what that is an overcharge system. So when there's too much Freon, it'll actually freeze up the whole system. It'll be compressing and exchanging it from a liquid to a gas, cooling off, but eventually if there's too much Freon, it'll freeze the whole system. Your system stops, meaning you start feeling hot air coming into the car. Once it thaws out, then it starts working again. And that's an overcharge system. So sometimes we'll have customers come and they just have an overcharged system. So by pulling the Freon out, we use a machine to do that. Freon is a gas that is heavily monitored by the EPA. It's a gas that is known to potentially cause some damage to the ozone, and it's a gas that's not supposed to be released into the air. It has to be done through a machine, through an air conditioning machine. It's something that has to be done professionally, and that's not because you can't do it, that's because it's better for the environment, and it is a concern for months. No. Undercharge will typically cycle fast, so sometimes people will hear their compressor clicking on. It'll click on, click off, click on, click off, and it just doesn't feel like it gets cold enough, no matter how long the system runs. Almost like it takes longer for the AC to start working than normal. And that would be an undercharged system. It doesn't have enough Freon to make it cold enough. And usually an undercharged system requires a technician to find where the leak is. So an undercharged system, you can potentially be adding Freon, which is just leaking out into the ozone, which is not a good thing. And sometimes it's as simple as an O-ring. It could be a service port. It can even be the cap that goes on a service port. It could be a hose. It could be something simple. And so we have methods of finding these leaks. We can put dyes in the system. We have sniffers that can pick up Freon gas. And so there's many ways that we find these leaks. And it is to your benefit to find the leak, that you're not coming in from multiple services. Prepared correctly, AC systems are important enough that it is recommended to at least have them checked out.
We got done at the gym, so we are sweating profusely. I was gonna use my shirt, and he decided to go get a towel. Well, now we have a towel. I'll just dot your forehead as you're talking.
And we're talking about AC.
We're talking about AC, that's hilarious.
And I'm sweating like a thing.
The cabin air filter, what it does is the air that comes from outside goes through a cabin air filter before it goes through the air conditioning evaporator to blow the cold air into the car to you. Now that gets plugged up. It catches pollen, it catches dust, it catches all kinds of things, and it's a very fine filter. And when that gets plugged up, you don't have as much airflow coming through it. It can't push the cold air into your car. So then you feel like your AC is not working great, but really the AC is working good, just not enough of it's getting into the car. And so oftentimes we found that cabin air filters make a huge difference in keeping a vehicle cooler. So if we do an AC service, we'll pull the Freon out. We actually pull the oil out, so there's oil in an AC system. And that's one thing that when you're charging with the little cans, it doesn't put oil into the AC system. Now your AC compressor is similar like an engine. If you ran an engine with no oil, it blows up. So in your AC system, there's a certain amount of oil, a special tag oil that's supposed to be mixed in with it. And that oil also needs to be changed. It can also go bad over time. And so when we do an AC service, we extract all the Freon, we extract all the oil, and then we put it under a vacuum. And the vacuum is to eliminate moisture. It puts the system into a vacuum to suck moisture out of it. Then we're able to shoot in the correct amount of good, clean oil and shoot in the correct amount of Freon. This allows your AC system to last longer. That'll help compressors last longer. That'll help the whole AC systems are very expensive to replace, and if we can prolong its life versus having to replace it.
And just to remind you guys, we do have videos on, he was talking about radiators, he was talking about oil changes, and he was talking about the cabin air filter, which we covered actually in the 30, 60,000 and 90,000 mile increment videos. We have all of those videos in our newsfeed, so if you missed any of those videos and you need more clarification or more information, be sure to check out those past videos. And if you like this one, go ahead and push like right now, comment, share it with all of your friends. You can follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We drop all this information every single Wednesday, so you're not going to want to miss it.